We like to shoot our videos here, not far from this nice village. But the locals are not so glad because of the engine noise. But this time it's not our case. In fact, our bike sounds in this way. Let's go! Hi there, as usual it's me, just a voiceover, you're watching Review Machines, and this is the newest electric enduro, which is called CRF. There is a reason to say this bike will be appreciated both by EV lovers and enduro riders. Electric enduro bikes are still rare nowadays. The most famous is probably Surron Storm and few other no-names bikes. Frankly speaking, this bike is also no-name, but it's definitely worth of our attention. At least it's interesting cause we have here a real mechanical gearbox that is a seldom feature for electric bikes. Well, today we are going to make all the main tests of this bike, so get comfortable my friends, it's time to begin, let's go! Firstly, a few words about today's agenda. We will examine the specs and features, and then make some interesting tests. And after that, we will make a range test. By the way, this bike is being produced in China, and at a very first glance it produces a decent impression. But let's look closer at it. The design is pretty simple and standard for enduro bike. The length is 2 meters, the ground clearance is 27 centimeters, the seat height is 86 centimeters, the weight is 100 kilos. It's equipped with electric motor, 3 kW nominal power, the battery is 72 volts, 40 ampere-hours capacity. As I said, there is a mechanical gearbox, and all the controls are the same as on any gas bike. By the way, it sounds interesting in nitro, doesn't it? The suspension is also standard, like on many other enduro bikes. At a first glance it works properly, but we had better test it on practice. The handlebar is well known for all riders. The dashboard is simple and clear. Next to it there is a battery indicator. But the obvious drawback, the both displays are rather dim in sunny weather. And there is a spacious fuel tank. Well, can anyone tell me why on earth we have it here? And now it's high time to test it in practice. Let's go! To tell the truth, I'm not much of enduro rider, so I try with some caution, but I immediately felt the brute force of this electric beast and had to keep the handlebar tight. As to other impressions, in fact you can start moving at any range of the gear. It's enough torque to start even with force range. So you can choose them, depending what you need more, a torque or speed. Low gear would be perfect for crawling on hills and hardest terrain, and high gears are good to sweep through the flat spacious areas. But as a matter of fact, my skills don't let me show you all this beast is capable of. So we need a more experienced rider, and we have one. Meet Maxim. And this rider is definitely able to show us all this bike can do, cause Max is the champion of many enduro competitions. It's quite impressive to watch him sweeping through this field, isn't it? Well, frankly speaking, a good bike with gas 250cc engine is able to show approximately the same performance, but it would be a loud show. All we know how loud enduro bikes engines. In our case, the electric bike is almost noiseless. We don't disturb anyone at all. In fact, it makes some noise, but it's quiet and sounds like a bike from a cyberpunk movie. Let's do some tests, and we begin with the asphalt. It's clear enduro bikes are not cut out for long travels on asphalt, but at least we want to test maximum speed here. As I said, it's quite possible to start moving at fourth gear, there is enough torque. And speaking about the maximum speed, (90 km/h), a decent result for an enduro. On the other hand, if we compare it with gas 250cc enduro bikes, they would be faster. As a rule, they can accelerate up to 100 km/h and more. In fact, such field roads are the best conditions for our bike. It can provide maximum fun here. By the way, we are enjoying the extreme riding, but don't disturb anyone with engine noise. That is definitely a significant advantage for those who have their rides near to the towns or villages. As to the other impressions, the brakes are quite good. The suspension also works quite well. We see the bike going at a pretty high speed on a rough terrain. Anyway, it definitely will be enough for having some fun, but it may be not suitable for real sports competitions with many jumps. As a matter of fact, enduro bikes are not the best variants for off-roading, but it's interesting to try, isn't it? The ground clearance here is 27 cm, and the tires are aggressive, so it goes in mud quite well. By the way, according to the manufacturer, all the main components of the bikes are waterproof. But I would recommend to make an additional waterproofing if you are going to have rides in dirt quite often. By the way, a mechanical gearbox do a lot of good for off-roading. Actually, it works as a transfer case, providing low gears and plenty of torque. Well, thanks a lot for our rider, and we still have one more important test. Good morning, my friends! It's a new day, and we recharged the battery to make a full range test. It's time to start a GPS tracker, and let's hit the road. Unfortunately, today is very windy. That may seriously cost the final result. I'm riding at a speed about 50 km/h all the time. And while I'm having a ride, let's sum up our review. I think it's quite decent bike for a no-name manufacturer. I'm satisfied with the build quality and its performance. There are all advantages of electric transport. It doesn't need fuel and only little maintenance, it's almost noiseless. The racing performance is approximately like 250cc gas bike. As to the drawbacks, I can remember only dim dashboard. Another drawback as to me, it's the price. Cause this bike costs about $10,000, that is pretty expensive for me. And the main drawback is probably the range, or not? Let's find out. And the final result is 62 kilometers. Frankly speaking, not so impressive and can't be considered as another drawback. Well, let's call it a day, my friends. Thanks for having a ride with us. Please post your comments what you think of this machine. Consider subscribing the channel if you like this video. Stay with us, there will be many more interesting materials here. Bye.